But if I added myself to the stream, it might have been good. It just might have been good. Just waiting for the audio check to come in. Get prep for this. Go. Audio is good. Okay, so this weekend was WWE Clash at the Castle. Again, this is just a little ad hoc live stream, or ad lib live stream. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the events, ramifications thereof. Let me get my notes ready here. Okay, so first things first. This is a 3-hour event that had 5 matches, and if you look at the runtime on the matches, 30 minutes, 15, 45, say 30. That gets you to 115, 130, 2 hours. I overestimate all these matches, right? So they padded like well less than 2 hours worth of actual matches to over a 3-hour runtime. And and Priest versus McIntyre probably went 5 to 10 minutes short because of the injury. I'll talk about that later. But I mean, the way I watch it, I can skip through the parts that aren't the matches or the promos, which is a long form commercial advertising WWE. I get they have to do it. It's just irritating, Anyway, so let's start with the first thing. Now, obviously, I know the results of the entire card. Okay. Personally, I would not have opened with Cody versus AJ Styles. I would have made that. I mean, McIntyre is the headliner on this because of the Scottish thing. So I would have made Cody versus AJ the second. I would have started with this women's triple threat tag match or whatever, just because. Like after the Cody versus AJ match, I found myself not caring as much. I found myself thinking of if for example I watched this the way most people do, which is they put on their TV, playing, while it's live. This would have been a go to bathroom match, the women's triple threat tag match. Okay, so it was only 12 minutes. Open with that. It was a good match. It wasn't a great match. We had it anyway. Let's talk about the reasons I will discuss with the second match when we get there, which I think would have made it better than the first match. That being said, Cody vs. AJ is a classic. If there's any one criticism, given the level of violence they demonstrated and the fact that Cody is Dusty Rhodes' son, to not have a leather strap come out in this match, someone might have missed the boat there, But that's the only legit criticism. The two guys put a lot of nice spots on. You always have that sort of when someone sets up the table on a 2-man match, they're going through it. So, it's a question of how is AJ going to go through the table. And there were a lot of great moments. I like the cuffs. That was a good, nice thing. Deliver the SmackDown. You could see they were delivering chair shots that were safe chair shots. That was good. The story they told in the match was two guys, at the end of a feud. That's my biggest problem with this. Is that this could have been strung along for 2 months at least. Obviously, with Money in the Bank coming up, Cody's just a title defense. They could have had AJ do the ambush, then maybe but Cody's already booked a different match for this. So AJ keeps ambushing Cody and eventually sets up a regular match where AJ kind of cheats, but basically a full finish or whatever. So then they do the I Quit match, this feud could have been drawn out longer. I'm not criticizing the match or the event. I'm criticizing the storyline, okay? Because one thing you have to be careful of is Cody has to have storylines himself. He can't just be about the bloodline, which at the end of his match, that's what happened. The Solo comes out, seems like he's going to just sort of semi-congratulate him. Then, his brothers who are the assassins come out, or his cousins, I should say, come out and basically turn Cody into paste. Then of course Randy Orton and KO run out. You know, semi predictable. I guess I'm wondering if that's setting. They're beginning to set up the Survivor Series, which obviously will be the Bloodline, probably be the Rock, along with Solo, Tangaloa, and Tangaloa and Tonga, the two brothers. And then maybe Jacob Patu or Roman, one of the two of them. Right, those five. Let's do a 4-man Survivor Series match, and you can easily see. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. Okay, if you listen to Dustin Rhodes' interviews, he is giving signs that he is basically getting ready to retire. He's on his last run, and he's now putting guys over in AEW. Right, so don't be surprised if Dustin Rhodes' contract is up. Right, he comes back for one last WWE run where he helps his brother out in a supporting role. Don't be surprised. And it's as the natural Dustin Rhodes, thus not completing the story of his father, right? And then you have the Rhodes brothers. Because remember, his theme is that there's other families in wrestling, and eventually that's going to have to pay off with Dustin coming back, I think. So keep that in mind. Anything in the match to be critical of? I would have liked a little more. It's a little difficult when you're doing a 2-man match. They did one crowd walk, as I call it, where they go through the crowd and wrestle a bit, and then come back to the ring. Like if it's a tag match, you could have two guys going out in the crowd, have some spots outside, while the two guys in the ring entertain the crowd. So that's why these hardcore matches are better with more than two dudes. But and given the shape of the arena, it will be hard to set up some spots outside, given the layout of this particular arena, right? I would have liked to see a nice move when I think it was, I don't know who it was. It was either Cody or AJ, obviously, who landed by a pile of camera cable. To see the other guy and choke him with the camera cable, that would have been kind of cool. So I'm not picking it. It was a great match, okay. And I liked and the match ended pretty well with because we had AJ get into it with Cody's mom, and Cody's mom slapped him a few times. So Cody set the tone when even after he quit, he hit him with the steel chair as a punishment for slapping his mom. And that was pretty cool. Okay, on to the unholy match with the unholy union versus Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and the Baszler and Stark. Okay. This should have been the opener. It was a short match. It got you into it. There was some botches in the match. The whole thing with Jade Cargill tapping. Everyone's saying that the camera really was the problem there. And I've complained about this before. The camera has to know where, man, and the director have to know which cameras are on. I want, since they talked about it, and I think they're going to kayfabe the Jade Cargill, did she tap or not? I think they're going to go kayfabe with it. The scene will remain in succeeding broadcasts of the PLE, but WWE in the past has just sort of re-edited them to remove sort of things like that when these botches happen. So I think she was trying to let Baszler know that the hole was a little too tight. Meaning, so when you're doing, and now obviously Baszler is an expert at real martial arts and pro wrestling, and one thing wrestlers have to do to work together is when the move is on, that's a real move. You have to let the other wrestler know if they're actually doing the real move. Okay, so that's what I think was going on there. That she wasn't tapping; she was saying she couldn't talk. She was saying, "Shayna, come on, loosen up a little bit," you know. Cargill looked bad. That's the reality of it. She's just not ready to be a primetime competitor. I don't know who signed her, but this is $3 million a year or whatever for a couple of years that WWE is going to have to eat. And so this is where I had predicted the Unholy Union would win, I believe. Yeah. So, which is Fry and Dawn. And they won. So far, I'm even with the predictions, as it were. Now, we'll go to the third match. in terms of this, again, a really great match. Like Sami Zayn is he's getting a little older, but he's a top 30 wrestler in the world. When he was younger, he was a top 20 wrestler in the world. Gable is a very good wrestler. I don't think he has the next level of performance that Sami Zayn has, but Sami got him over here. Um, the storylines with Otis and Maxine and Dupin and all were okay. Everyone loves this storyline, like when Otis is going to snap or whatever, but it's predictable. I mean, that's my main problem with it. It's predictable. If I were doing this, I said this before, I would have Otis's snap be not to become a face, but to become an ultra heel, and he just starts taking everyone out, and becomes like mean Otis or whatever, you know. So that's kind of that, and yeah. So I mean, it was a good match. Sami Zayn won, of course. Now the speculation is now Chad Gable did resign, so this is a last minute thing, and now the speculation was he didn't that Gable would have gone over here had he been under contract. I don't know. I think Sammy's getting a run here at this title, and there's going to be speculation that Sammy's going to lose to Chad Gable, maybe on another event down the line. I don't know about that either. I think Sammy didn't carry this title at least for SummerSlam. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe who could take the IC title. Chad Gable just doesn't come across as a guy I think will carry the title very far. You know, yeah, he had decent heel heat, but once Otis betrays him and becomes a good guy, that's gonna all get used up. So then he won't have anything with the title. So there's that. Now then Bailey versus Piper Niven. Uh, again, second best match of the four so far. It's the second best match and almost as good as Cody versus AJ. I'm saying again, you got to go find Piper Niven's old matches. She is a top level wrestler. She's really entertaining. She's a classic big woman wrestler. You know, uh, personally, for me, Piper would have won. You know, because the storyline works better with Bailey chasing again. Maybe her and Piper have a series of matches where they drop the title back and forth, and the SummerSlam, and or something like that. But uh, Bailey doesn't need this title, and Piper, in my opinion, honestly, Piper's a better wrestler than Bailey. Okay, I mean, not Bailey's better on promos or whatever, sure, and she's matured, but Piper can drive it. So, uh, but Bailey won, pretty good match. Uh, I hate to admit this, thank you WWE for the continual upskirts of Chelsea Green. Yes, I know we're supposed to see them because of the way the costumes are designed. They're designed to be attractive. I'm glad I got mail to say I will happily look up Chelsea Green's skirt in WWE rings all day. She's probably like if I had to name the women I find most attractive in wrestling right now, number one is Alexa Bliss. Number two is Thunder Rosa. Number three is Roxy Perez. Then you have Chelsea Green and tough. Name that fifth one is tough. Um, there's three or four that you could float in there, but the first couple there's no contest. Between like 1, 2, and 3 for sure. Um. So where does Bailey go from here? Well, she's used up her with damage control. She's used up her heat with that. So is she just keep doing these mini feuds till Rhea comes back? Problem is, does Rhea come back? Rhea is very over right now, and if Dom betrays her, then Rhea becomes a face because Dom remains a heel, right? So face versus face, Bailey versus Rhea, possible? I don't know. Uh, what did I do here? I think I made the writing too big. Okay, whatever. Okay. And then we get to the last match. Okay, so before I go, I'll talk about it afterwards. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Now, I predicted that McIntyre would win here. It just made sense because Damian Priest is in his mid-40s. He's had a good little run here. He's better on the hunt than the hunted because he's a sort of fairly good heel right now. Now Priest retained, so I was wrong on this one. The Judgment Day is a mess right now as far as storyline goes. Everyone likes the whole Liv destroying the Judgment Day, but it just the problem is basically Rhea's out, so they're gonna have to work that in. I want Finn Balor out of the Judgment Day and back and to be the dominant Demon Prince Valor. I don't want this garbage. So I can't stand that. I've only recently become okay with Damian Priest. I thought he was average at best for the past 10 years or whatever. So and the storyline just a bit of a mess. I mean, because of Rhea's injury. Now the match. It started out good. Classic big man match, hitting some suplexes. I love that Drew McIntyre uses the Arn Anderson spot, the spine buster that Arn Anderson made famous. After Drew McIntyre reminds me a bit of Arn Anderson in some respects. What else to say there? The first third of it, maybe, or first quarter, was that big man with athletic moves, counters and all that. And I was okay with that. It was a good match. Now then, Damian Priest went for an over-the-top ring dive or whatever. His bottom leg got caught up in the rope, and his ankle, you could clearly see his leg buckle horribly when it happened. I don't have a picture. I don't want to show it off. And how to put it, so when right at the point when the injury happened, a lot of things. Now so McIntyre and Priest put the professional in professional wrestling. Okay, what happened? So when something like that happened with a legit concern for injury, the director has to tell the camera get off the guy who was possibly injured, and the ref so the ref can assess and maintain kayfabe and all that, right? And the opponent has to entertain the crowd in a way. So what did McIntyre start ranting a bit, and he attacked the announcer table and was drawing with the audience a little bit, and then he went over and did a few kayfabe kicks and Priest once probably the ref said Priest is okay once getting the match, but he can't get him out. So and then the Priest, I don't know if he did it or someone whispered to him what to do, but that was masterwork where he got I put it where Drew goes, I can't win like this, basically. I can't win a title like this. So he helped his fellow out in the absence of basically in the match. And then now again, this type of match in 9 out of 10 circumstances has a lot of pre-planned choreography to it. Where especially those corner spots where they'll say, okay, we're gonna do this move in the corner, this move top rope, just so they know when they call it, they're on the same page and the ref knows what's going on, right? So, how to put it? When Priest got hurt, all the pre-planned stuff was gone. They had to ad-lib the rest of this match, and Priest stood up and was ready to go to wreck in pain, and wanted to continue the match. And McIntyre worked around the injury till obviously you could see as the match went on, Priest got more and more feeling back in his leg. So he probably just numbed it up more than anything. And I'm glad today so far reports other injuries are not serious, so he won't be out too long. So that's it was a lot of nice spots in the match. This is sort of a classic two big guys who have the same moveset going at it type match. Perfectly fine with that, as long as not every match is like that, right? Anything else to say about it? Oh, the ending. So obviously, they were going to have Punk interfere. We saw that McIntyre had the 10 or 12 count or whatever, so he technically won. There was no ref, blah, blah, blah. I think it's too early just to trigger McIntyre versus Punk. I know that's going to be their program now, but it's too early to me to trigger that. That to me is a, like big, almost a pay-per-view worthy event of its own. The final match for that feud. So, sorry for that. I was thinking about something for a minute. I wanted to get my thoughts. So where do we go from here? So let me check my notes in case anything else I want to get over here. Good spots. Moon triple threat. Jade tabs. I'll talk about that. Overall, okay, man. Sam, I think Sammy got a boost out of the match for Gable, Weeble. Okay. So where do we go from here? Obviously, Cody's going on to whatever his next feud is. I'm feeling Jade Cargill is going to the Performance Center. She's gonna disappear off of WWE for like 6 months or so. Maybe show up in NXT in 6 months, right? Baszler and Stark are basically, mid-tier mid-tier enhancement talent at this point, right? Sammy's going to go on and continue to defend the IC title. Chad is heading, and Sammy and all Otis are heading toward this sort of breakup of Otis with his team, his faction. Bayley, I don't know who she's feuding with next. Piper hopefully continues to get a singles push because she is really good. And Priest, who could Priest feud with? Because he's technically a heel, but he acts more like a face. Not sure. McIntyre, I was heading towards a feud Punk. So those are my thoughts on Battleground. Overall, I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars when I rated it in my system. So worth watching. And that's it. Clash in the Castle 2024. Have a nice night. Hopefully you'll share your thoughts down below. Share the video if you like it. Like if you like, don't like, all the usual stuff. My name is Matt. This is my Rebel 73. Have a nice day, and I am out of here.